Hi there and welcome to the channel of A Disappointed Man with me, Jason Kennedy, The Disappointed Man. Now this is one of those rare reaction videos that I post on those infrequent occasions when a book doesn't merit a review. However, I do feel I have something productive to say about it. The last one, the only one, I believe was Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. This time it's Haruki Murakami's 1994 novel Dance, 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 and there are various points I wish to touch upon, so let's begin. First, I suppose we need a summary, however brief, before we proceed. Dance, Dance, Dance is narrated by a middle-aged Japanese man, newly divorced, who is attempting to reconnect with a call girl he slept with, a quest that prompts some truly bizarre experiences and draws him into contact with some very strange characters, among them a 13-year-old Japanese girl with clairvoyant powers, a one-armed poet, and a movie star who fantasizes about leading a normal life. The novel is genre-defying, but I suppose its overall tone is that of hard-boiled detective fiction. Okay, with that out of the way, let's speak about this novel's virtues, of which I could only identify three, one of which may in fact constitute a grave defect. Firstly, this book is indisputably funny. It has its own brand of humour, it's offbeat, it's dark, and I can well imagine many readers highly prizing this aspect of Murakami's work. Secondly, it abounds with references to pop culture, movies, bands, and those I also greatly enjoyed as something of a nerd, although I have to also note that my own record collection is considerably superior to that of Murakami. Lastly, the virtue that may be a defect is the page-turning quality of Dance, Dance, Dance. I believe that derives ultimately from the fact it is empty. It possesses almost no substance. Did I take it seriously as a work of art? Absolutely not. How on earth is Murakami in the frame for the Nobel Prize for Literature? I simply cannot fathom. Okay, there are the virtues. Let's move on to the defects, and then I'll recommend some similar novels which are, in my view, far superior. I found there to be two chief defects to Dance, Dance, Dance: the narrative voice, particularly in the opening pages, and the weak characterization. If I had to liken the opening of this book to anything, I would say it's like having a complete stranger attempt to become your best friend in about 3 minutes. That was extremely unpleasant, and although ultimately one does begin warming to the narrator, he does possess, as I will come on to, many highly objectionable traits. Then there is the weak characterization. Although outwardly these characters should be fascinating, they're so quirky, aren't they? The one-armed poet, the clairvoyant Japanese teenager, the movie star who dreams of a normal life. However, that sounds great on the blurb on the back of the novel, but when you're reading it, they're just so flat. They don't come to life at all. So I was really disappointed by that aspect of this novel. Okay, now I'm going to speak about the problem if one does attempt to take this seriously as a work of art, and that centers on the treatment of women. The gritty aspect of Dance, Dance, Dance comes from a series of murders which occur, and 2 of the victims are prostitutes, and the way these women are presented as happy sex workers I just found totally objectionable. And if one was going to treat this as a serious work of art, real problems would develop from Murakami's portrayal of women, even from his depiction of the teenage girl, which also seems overly sexualized. However, if one simply regards it as exploitative trash, then there's no problem whatsoever. I'll link in the description to an article which explores Murakami's woman problem in more detail. But now let's move on to the recommendation of 2 novels similar to Dance, Dance, Dance that are, in my view, infinitely superior. The first of these is Jonathan Lethem's Gun with Occasional Music, which interestingly was published in the same year, 1994, as Dance, Dance, Dance came out in its English translation. Like Murakami, Lethem is indebted to Philip K. Dick, and what he produces in Gun with Occasional Music is an incredible fusion of a sci-fi novel with a hardboiled detective thriller. It has a brilliant plot, and it's absolutely a work of genius in my view by one of the greatest living writers we have. He also has a similar understanding of pop culture. Lethem's even written a short book about talking heads who are quite prominent in Dance Dance Dance. If you enjoyed Murakami's novel and you haven't read Lethem's, I seriously recommend checking it out. And now for my second recommendation. It's William Gibson's 1996 sci-fi novel Idoru, which, like Dance Dance Dance, is largely set in Japan, and what Murakami attempts in Dance 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 with his analysis of life under advanced capitalism, Gibson really delivers. He's basically on a level with a sociologist in terms of how deep his insights are. This was the leading edge of cyberpunk back in 1996, and it's still a great read today. So if you've enjoyed Dance 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 and you haven't read Idoru, then I seriously recommend checking it out. It's denser, it's grittier, and it's far more violent, and ultimately it's a much more satisfying read. Okay, I have one brief comment to make, and then I'll move on to my farewells. I've never really spoken about this before on the channel, but there is this question of when and where one reads a work of fiction. If I'd read this back when it was published in 1994, living in the Midlands as I was at the time, it would have seemed impossibly exotic to me. It has Hawaii, it has Japan, all this stuff. However, reading it while living in Taiwan, having already lived a life that's taken me all around the world, meant that Dance 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 seemed somehow paler, less alive, less vibrant than the life I've actually led. So that's an interesting issue there. I think I would have enjoyed this more back when I was 16 to 20 years old than reading it now as what? A jaded old man out here in Southeast Asia. Alright, that's everything I want to say in this reaction video, except to bid you farewell. So be safe, be strong, and I shall see you anon. Nanu Nanu.